All right, welcome to week 16. You made it. You are done. Okay, so I will post final grades by May 7th. Likely before then, but definitely by May 7th. That's when the university says they have to be in. So they will be in. All right, this week you're reading chapter 31, The Age of Globalization. You're going to answer questions 1 through 4 in the recall and reflect, and I have an extra question for you. I want you to read George Washington's farewell address. It's going to be linked in the announcement, in the assignment. It will be linked. I want you to read it. He mentions political parties 11 times. So for your 5th recall and reflect question, I want you to pick 5 of the points he makes about political parties, because it's so important. We have a tendency to only want to study the history that informs our worldview, but I think it's really important to study history. And so there's question 1 in the recall and reflect questions points to the partisan nature of our government. And we have a 2-party system. RFK Jr. is living proof of that. He had a bid to run as an independent candidate for president, and that just was not going to work out. We have a 2-party system. And history, whenever you study history, you're always going to study government, because governments drive history. Governments drive events. And so I want you to understand, George Washington saw infighting between the Federalists. Alexander Hamilton was his Secretary of the Treasury, and the Anti-Federalists. Thomas Jefferson was also in Washington's cabinet. He saw firsthand the factions, the division. He didn't like it. He warned against it. I want you to see what he had to say about it. So you're going to do a little bit extra in this final week, but you do have a little bit of time. I will accept assignments beyond next Sunday's due date if you're running late. So reach out to me with questions. And in this age of globalization, keep that in mind. The internet has really shrunk the world. The world is much smaller. You can have friends all over the world that you interact regularly over social media and other formats. Also, President Truman, remember him? His policy of containment of communism. It drug us to Korea. It drug us to Vietnam. And then after 9/11, we spent 20 years in Afghanistan. Our military spent 20 years in Afghanistan. After 9/11, we are all over the place. If you believe the news reports, we're in Ukraine. So it's very much, we have a global economy. We have a global world presence. So it's really important. Don't fall off here at the end. This is still important. All right. Also, you have your final exam this week. So thank you so much for being part of this class. I hope that you have learned a lot about American history from 1877 forward. And I hope you see how history impacts us today and why it's important to study it, and also why it is important to be consumers of news. All right, reach out with questions. If you have missing or late assignments or quizzes, turn them in. There is no penalty for late submission ever, but the clock does run out at the end of the semester, and that clock is not set by me. So get your stuff in. Have a great week.